Ferre with TaxSaleSupport.com. I'm here with Swenson, and this is part of a new series we're doing on researching red flags, different red flags that will come up throughout the research process that we want to highlight and identify.
Yeah, well, with tax sale investing, we really believe it's one of the best opportunities out there to make money. But it's also possible to lose money. There's plenty of ways that you can lose money, investing in tax liens or even tax deeds.
It's very easy to make mistakes. So we wanted to be able to help investors identify, properties, potential mistakes ahead of time.
Yeah, so today we want to talk about buying useless cliffs, canyons, hills, gulches, any type of property like that.
Yeah, any type of useless land.
So for the property example we're going to use a property that was that's being sold in Humboldt County, California. It starts out with an opening bid of $37.50, and it actually takes place here in a couple of days.
Yeah, we can see some of the property details here, like for instance, access to the GIS mapping. We can see the location of the address, legal description, as well as an assessed value of about $11,378. So.
Well, and having that full address makes it easier to find the property. And looking at the map, we can kind of see the property here, get an idea of what it is. If we're just looking at an overhead view, though, it looks like it's just a normal building lot.
Yeah, this looks like a vacant lot from overhead, not a lot of detail.
Yeah, so what we're going to do, one of the first things we're going to do is, of course, look up the property on Google Maps and get an idea of what it looks like. And so from the street view, if we're looking at this property, we can't quite tell it's on a hill. It looks like it possibly could be, but it could be growth. We're not quite sure.
As we can look down the road, though, we can see there's actually a sign listed there for loose gravel.
Yeah, so that's automatically a red flag. So we're already kind of concerned, is this property possibly on a hill or something like that? And then suddenly that loose gravel sign kind of answers our question. If they, went to the effort to put a loose gravel sign right there, that means that it's probably pretty steep. There's rocks and things coming down.
Yeah, it's got to be a fairly steep embankment to have the rocks going down. But there's other ways that we can tell exactly what's going on there with the terrain.
Yeah, so we want to back that up and really look a little bit more into it, and that's really where the GSI maps can become helpful. Not only do they have satellite imagery, but they also have topographic maps.
Yeah, which we can see here. It's one of the base maps that we can choose from. There are several different options here, including imagery, which oftentimes they have airplane take images overhead of it for different years, and so we can actually see the progression of the city if we want from the different years they have. But the topographical map is what we want to use if we want to get an idea of what the terrain is doing. And in this case here, the topographical map that we're going to be looking at uses something called contour lines.
Yeah. That's something that's going to be common with any type of topographical map. And these contour lines are really connecting points of equal elevation as we're looking at the map.
Yeah, so anywhere that you can follow that line, that is the same basic elevation above sea level. Anywhere on that same line, but another line is going to represent a difference in elevation.
Yeah, now depending on the county and the map that you're looking at will depend on how many feet there is between each one of those lines. So one county may use 10 feet between those lines. Other counties may use 40 feet or 80 feet or even longer than that if it needed.
Yeah, so in this case, we're looking at the topographical map, and the arrows are pointing to the property in question here. And one of the things that we can tell is that the one end of the property is right next to one of the contour lines there for the 640-foot elevation.
Yeah, exactly. And the one there at the bottom is at 560 feet. So we know that just on this lot, there's an 80-foot rise in elevation. So if we're talking about a lot that's maybe 150, 160 feet long, that's nearly a 50% rise in elevation over that That's 80 feet elevation rise over 160 feet.
Yeah, something else we can also tell from looking at this, is that there is, water down the middle of this Telegraph Creek, and that the elevation climbs back up to the 640-foot, range, where the other lots are, at kind of across from it. So what we're really kind of looking at is a little, basically like a little valley there, between these two hills.
Yeah, well, and we can see between the two connecting points, one being 640 feet, the other one being 560 feet, that's, 80 feet apart, which means that that line there in the middle is 40 feet. So that means that each one of these lines equals 40 feet on this particular map. But that's something that you'll try to look for as you're looking at the map, is you'll be able to see one of the contour lines that'll be labeled, and then they may have some that aren't labeled, and then you'll see that next one that's labeled, and you'll be able to figure out what is the distance between each one of those lines.
Yeah, and one of the things that we can tell with this as well is we can tell that, if we knew what the length of our lot is, so if we knew our lot was 100 feet, long, then we could probably figure out the exact angle, by the number of feet, the elevation climb and the distance, of our lot.
Yeah.
Distance traveled, which in this case, we know that it goes up 80 feet over the course of a 100-foot lot or a 150-foot lot. It's going to have an angle of probably 30 to 45%. It's probably really steep.
Well, it shows us why there's the sign on the property that says loose gravel, or on the road next to the property. So, this is one way you can look into properties and find out what the elevation changes are on the property, and get an idea, is this property flat enough to be built on, and is it something that can be usable?
Yeah, really, it's important to research more than just the size of the property, or things that you might be able to tell just through an overhead image. Sometimes even, street side imaging is not going to be enough, or isn't going to provide you with reliable information. So we've got to get used to using every tool available, especially as an out-of-state investor, if you can't be there on site to check the property out ahead of time.
Yeah, Shay makes a good point. We want to use as many of these tools as we can. So, we'll use the Google Maps view and a street view if possible. Then we'll back that up with any GSI maps and see if they have topographical maps available there, where we can really kind of determine what the elevation changes are, and from there, at least we can make an informed decision, especially if we're talking about land, without needing to go out there and view the property in person.
Yeah, absolutely. And make sure that it's going to be usable. Yeah, thanks for watching this video. If you like this information, you should join our membership program, which you can do for $39 a month, and you basically cancel at any time. There's no obligation. It's hands down the best bargain in tax sale training.
Yeah. Well, and that's going to give you the ability to participate in each one of our weekly webinars and all of the trainings that we have provided.
Plus, it'll give you access to all of the tax sale lists that we do. So you're getting a combination of training and access to tax sale lists, the auction calendar, letting you know when sales are happening. It's a lot of resources there for anybody that is trying to do this on their own. It's the way to go, I think, if you're trying to do it on your own. And even if you're not, then we've got other things to help you.
Yeah. One of those things that we have is a 3-day workshop coming up next month, April 9th through the 11th in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, if you'd like to come out, we are going to spend 3 days there with our guests. It's going to have catered food. We're going to have a lot of time with I think everybody that shows up. But at the same time, though, it's almost full.
Yeah, exactly. We only have a couple of seats left. If you and the guests want to attend, let us know. It's only $997.
Yeah. So hey, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe and hit that thumbs up button.
Yeah, thanks again, everyone.